You're listening to Intelligent Medicine, a resource to help you take control of your health. We offer a balanced, objective analysis of all your health, wellness, and aging options, both conventional and alternative. Now you can take your engagement to the next level by joining FullScript. FullScript is my online dispensing platform that only offers curated, professional-grade supplement brands that I know and trust. Never counterfeit or expired, always stored and shipped correctly. Just go to drhoffmanstore.com for more information and to start your free FullScript account. Buying through FullScript offers fast, free shipping, optional refill reminders, a mobile-friendly site. It's safe, secure, and HIPAA compliant and offers world-class support. Just go to drhoffmanstore.com. You'll get access to the supplements and features you need to help you achieve your wellness goals, including my custom targeted protocols that combine the products I recommend to address specific needs, heart health, immune support, and much more. It's all at drhoffmanstore.com. drhoffmanstore.com. Welcome back to today's Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ronald Hoffman. I hope you're finding this as informative and exciting as I do, because I always enjoy my colloquies with Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. He brings a best of both worlds perspective to health issues. He is well-grounded in conventional medicine, well-trained MD, but he also is very creative at blending natural therapies into his treatment protocols. So how can people support healthy adrenal function?
Well, it's really quite simple. Number one, be aware of what's going on. If you get irritable when hungry, and if you're not sure, ask your loved one, spouse, kids, parents, whatever. And especially if you find that it's hard to be around you. You get into these spaces where people are starting to run and hide, or they're trying to comfort you. Let people know when you get that way, not to comfort you, not to hug you. You will claw their eyes out. Get a little card that says, when I get irritable and annoying, just feed me.
Okay. I actually had a girlfriend like that in college. You know, she said when we first got into the relationship, she said, there's something that's important that you need to know about me. Sometimes I will become completely brain dead. I'll be barely able to talk. What you need to do is run into the nearest candy store and get me a candy bar. And so I was obliging. But I don't think that did her a lot of good in the long run.
But in the short run, it saved your life.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before she goes into the out cold on the sofa mode,
right?
There's the, claws come out, irritability, and get, that kind of stuff. What happens is the blood sugar drops. You take sugar, and the sugar zips it back up, and you feel better quickly.
Yeah.
But then it puts you on the sugar.
Just like in the Snickers commercial. It's like in a Snickers commercial.
Except that they don't show 45 minutes later, where now you've dropped twice as low as you did before, out of rebound from the sugar. So here's the thing. All it takes is half a teaspoon, 1 packet of sugar. You can keep a sugar packet in your pocket. If you get the attack and you don't have food, moisten your mouth, take a sip of something, pour the sugar packet under your tongue.
Sublingual.
Half a packet.
Okay.
Yes. And that will quickly get in the bloodstream, raise your sugar up, but not be enough sugar to put you on the roller coaster where you then get on this, crazy train. And then eat food. Eat protein. Or complex carbs. But the sugar, helps in the first 30 minutes, and then will make the problem much worse overall.
Yeah.
So little bits. If you have orange juice in the fridge, put an ounce of orange juice under your tongue. There'll be 3/4 teaspoon of sugar. So simple measures like that'll break the attack, and then you want to maintain your blood sugar with protein.
Okay. But long term, people ultimately don't want to get hooked on sugar fixes. So in terms of a long-term strategy, diet, lifestyle, exercise, nutraceuticals, sleep, circadian rhythm, all those things figure in, right?
Yes. So number one, cut down sugar, increase salt, unless you have heart failure.
Okay.
And increase water intake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have uncontrolled high blood pressure, the effect of salt on blood pressure is modest. So it's not a salt excess, it's a potassium deficiency when you have the high blood pressure. So those simple things, and we'll talk about lifestyle in a little bit, but the easiest thing to do, there's about there's many hormones that the adrenal makes, and especially things like pregnenolone and DHEA,
Yeah.
and adrenaline and cortisol, all these different things. So if you simply get there's a product called Adrenaplex.
Hmm.
So Adrenaplex. You can find it in most health food stores, and most online supplement shops. I have it at endfatigue.com. But
Endfatigue.com. Okay, great.
yep,
And
that's my
by the way, a lot of
website.
resources there too, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's to help people get better. So it's an easy thing, 1 or 2 in the morning. You can take it as much as 3 times a day, but most people 1 or 2 in the morning. And within about 10 days, less than that, usually often a day or two, you're going to find these moods start to smooth out, your energy starts to pick up, your mental clarity starts to pick up, and you're not as likely to be getting ready to go for a divorce lawyer as much. I mean, your moods, you'll feel better. So the Adrenaplex is a nice, quick, simple fix, because it supplies 8 of the different things. You talked about the licorice helping, the glycyrrhizin. That's one of the 8 components. It'll also have things like the glandulars. It'll have DHEA, pregnenolone, vitamin C, B5. It has actually 9 key things, but 8 that I think are especially important. Um, that it's beautiful. It's cheap. It's easy. It just works quickly. So people really like it. Nice, simple approach to it. So cut out the sugar, increase salt, increase water. But then you want to start, you would not put in your mouth stuff that you hate. We have no problem putting that in our mind. And what we take in our environment, if you're, have your iPhone or whatever
Hmm.
switcher to your,
Yeah.
and you're, scrolling is addictive. And I
Yeah.
like going through my
Yeah.
reels, and I enjoy that. But I find that I feel bad after
Yeah.
a certain point.
I
And when I try to turn off the phone, well, just a couple more. And I
yeah.
find it's hard to put the phone down. There's actually resistance. But what I can do is hit the off button with my thumb. And then it's like, okay, now I can
Yeah.
put it down. It's addictive.
I have to say there's something going on social media, which is, I'll sometimes look at a story, it might be an interesting story, like a news story or political story is something I'm interested in. Then it runs out, it's like a reel, it lasts for a couple of minutes. And then it takes you to another reel. And inevitably, that next reel is some kind of conflict. Somebody who's going nuts on a plane, or somebody who's in a 7-Eleven and is starting to freak out and, maybe threatening someone with a baseball bat. And that, I think, is the essence of what gets hooked people on violence. And it's very stimulating. It's very engaging because you want to see the outcome. It is like the ultimate, it's why people slow down on the freeway. It's called rubbernecking. If there's an
Yeah.
accident, they want to see the blood and gore.
Yeah. In the old days, they had the Roman Colosseum, and
Yes.
the emperor would go thumbs up or thumbs down. And if thumbs down, they killed the guy. Um,
It's not good
yeah,
for it's not good for our adrenals. It's not good for our brains. It's not good for our souls.
yes, and especially I said I'm a geek, and I love my science fiction fantasy books,
Sure.
and I don't mind the good, hero versus good versus evil, and of the end of the earth if the hero doesn't make it, but I like it to be labeled fiction. So
Hmm.
what happens is they're taking all the stuff which is fiction,
Hmm.
and they're making believe that it's the news.
Yeah.
And H.G. Wells did that once. He was a newscaster, and he read his book, The War of the Worlds, but he read it as if this was actually happening and we were being
Hmm.
invaded by Martians.
Right.
And the panics in the street, people were dying. I mean, widespread panic because he was reading fiction and making believe it was truth.
Mhm.
So most of the stuff that leaves you feeling bad, leaves you hating each other or angry, again, they will give you a very good emotional or rational argument, leaving out critical things,
Mhm.
sometimes making stuff up, um, and leading you down this like rabbit hole. Um, it's not truth and it's not healthy.
Mhm.
And if you're enjoying it, go for it. Kill the whale, throw
Yeah.
out the empire. What if as long as you're enjoying it, that's great.
Mhm.
But if you're starting to feel bad with it,
Yeah.
turn it off
Yeah. All
and
right. Let's.
feel the relief.
I think that, a lot of people are looking for, that specific nutraceutical or, some kind of quick fix. But I think, this is an important lifestyle consideration because we are stressing ourselves out inordinately. And our social media environment is very toxic. I think ashwagandha figures often in these formulas. Is that something that specifically supports the adrenals? How does that work?
So you have things that support adrenal growth and function.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I mentioned, replacing the hormones that are low, things along those lines. Then you have things that are called adaptogens.
Mm-hmm.
The things that are in nature that help bring things into healthy balance. So if you're tipping this far, one way, it'll bring you back to balance. If you're tipping the other way, it'll bring you back to balance. So there's a number of adaptogens. So ashwagandha is one of them, but the need to be careful because a lot of them don't have much of the active component in it. There's an ashwagandha EP30, which is 30% of the active components of the ashwagandha, which is what I'll use, or the KM66. I'm very brand specific because you want a good one. But what I'm going to use, my favorite adaptogen is called HRG80 Red Ginseng.
No.
In fact, right before a show, if I need a little bit of energy,
okay,
that's what I'm going to get. I take 1/2 of a chewable tablet. If I'm going to give a lecture, I give 1/2. And if you can't tell, I get kind of animated. It's kind of. So the HRG80 Red Ginseng, we did a study in 188 people with disabling fatigue. And we saw an average over 60% increase in energy. Stamina went up about 70%. Cognition improved. Sleep improved.
Yeah.
Pain went down. So
folks, I just want to mention that Dr. Teitelbaum is a leader in research on chronic fatigue syndrome. When CFS actually first kind of came into vogue, I think when we were beginning in practice, and you yourself suffered from a form of exhaustion and fatigue while in medical school, so you really have empathy for this and sought answers. And then you've done clinical studies, looking at actual patients and how they respond to various regimens, and have documented recovery using some of these methods. So it's not just we're making it up.
Now, this is very treatable. As you mentioned, John, I had post-viral chronic fatigue syndrome, what they now call long COVID, that knocked me out of medical school and left me homeless back in 1975.
Wow.
So that caught my attention. I was able to get myself well. The professors had no clue. Yeah. I was able to get myself well, went back to med school. And I spent the last 50 years researching these areas. And it's very, 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 very treatable. There's so many things in medicine and the healing arts that doctors do poorly because there's no expensive medications, so nobody's pushing things. If it's cheap, especially if it's natural, most of the time your doctor will not have heard about it unless it used to be expensive or it was been around for more than 30 years. Then they became part of the foundation of medicine. But, if it's expensive, it's ignored or attacked in medicine, which is a shame. It's all good people, no bad people. It's just a broken system.
Okay, folks, at this point, let's pause and allow one of our sponsors an opportunity to share an important message with you. So here goes. Listen up. Ever walk into a room and forget why you're there? Lose your train of thought mid-sentence? Feel like your brain is running on fumes by 2 p.m? Try Kyolic Specialty Series Smart Mushrooms Plus. This isn't caffeine. It's not some jittery stimulant that crashes you an hour later. This is a clean, science-backed formula built around certified organic lion's mane mushrooms, clinically shown to support the nerve growth factor that actually helps your brain maintain and organize neurons. We're talking real foundational support for focus and mental clarity, and it doesn't stop there. It's combined with Kyolic Aged Garlic Extract, aged up to 20 months on organic California farms, plus Aronia Berry Extract, selenium, and vitamin B12 for long-term brain health and executive function. 2 capsules with a meal, once a day, vegan, non-GMO, no gluten, no dairy, no artificial anything. Kyolic Smart Mushrooms Plus from Wakanaga. Learn more about this and the entire Kyolic Mushrooms Plus line at kyolic.com. That's KYOLIC.com. Look for Kyolic at natural health stores nationwide and online. Thanks for listening, and thanks for supporting our sponsors. They are what make intelligent medicine continuing free resource to you. And now back to today's guest, Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. You mentioned DHEA.
Mhm.
What I've discovered is that I have a lot of patients with, intestinal conditions for which they've taken prednisone quite frequently. And as a result, they have long-term suppression of their adrenals. So the idea is to, maybe wean them slowly off the prednisone, give them a little prednisone or give them some Cortef, which is cortisone. But a missing link, and a lot of doctors, virtually all doctors, put patients on prednisone without giving them the DHEA, not realizing that you're suppressing the whole adrenal. You're not just suppressing the cortisol production, you're also suppressing the DHEA. What role does DHEA play in recovery of someone who has adrenal burnout?
Well, the DHEA and pregnenolone are kind of the mother hormones. Pregnenolone is like the basic that makes all the others. DHEA is necessary for making like increased stress hormones. And what I found, to kind of go back to what you're saying with that, is that if I have somebody on prednisone, somebody has bad lupus and the rheumatologist has them on 40 of prednisone, if I put them on the DHEA, one, they need a lower dose of prednisone and they have less side effects. And for most people, for women, I'm going to go 5 milligrams, maybe 10, because you can start to get acne and facial hair darkening if you go too high. In men, I'm going to go 25. But the research showed that in lupus, severe lupus, 200 milligrams
200.
of DHEA markedly improved outcomes. It just, and for some reason, I warn women in those settings, I'm normally not going to use that high a dose, but if they have severe poorly controlled lupus, I'll warn them, but they've never gotten the acne or darkening of facial hair. For some reason, they need more. So they don't get the toxicity.
Their DHEA is virtually nil at that point.
Yeah. So for most people, and the Adrenaplex contains DHEA, so it has a nice amount for people with that in there. But on all of these, the pregnenolone is another one. In chronic fatigue syndrome, we routinely see low pregnenolone levels. And the infections, or if you're taking a statin, also will suppress production of the pregnenolone. And then you have no building block to make any of the steroid hormones. That's the main thing that makes them all.
Yeah, it's actually been found, I think the statistic is that on average, testosterone in men who take statins is about 10% lower because it blocks synthesis in that steroid pathway. Do you believe in testing? Because for many years I did the ASI, the Adrenal Stress Index. We would send people home with these little vials, and then they would wake up and spit into the vials, and then a few hours later they would do it in mid-morning and mid-afternoon, and then evening. Does that shed light on what's going on, or is that
it sheds light and shadows?
Okay.
So having been in medicine over 50 years now, I remember when I started in practice, I would get standard blood tests. I get a blood count, a chemistry, and back when I thought it was important, a cholesterol panel in each of my new patients. This was just my routine and a urinalysis. So they would draw the blood, and they would get on the same tube of blood, they would do the chemistry and the cholesterol panel. And what I was finding is that it was common routine for the cholesterol results to be 20 to 120 plus, units apart on the same person, same tube of blood.
That's why I would tell people not to get too bent out of shape if they have an abnormal lab value. I said, let's just cool it. Let's just redo it. No biggie.
Yeah. And the lab took care of it immediately. When I called the pathologist, and I said, and this is a major national lab, I said, you've got a real problem here. And they took care of it. From that day forward, they squelched one of the results whenever I ordered both panels.
Oh, okay.
Took care of the problem.
You're a troublemaker, so that kind of right.
What? Me, a troublemaker? No, must be somebody who looks like me. Anyway, so with the cortisol testing, it's adds some information. In the chronic fatigue patients, I will get a fasting morning ACTH and cortisol. I don't do the cortisol testing anymore. It's not worth it. The ASI, where you're getting 4 samples through the day that are salivary, they don't always match the blood. I'm not knowing which one is right or wrong. So here's the thing. I will get them as one piece of information, knowing that it's shedding a little bit of light,
Hmm.
but it's not truth.
Yeah.
And I will go based predominantly on symptoms. Do you get irritable when hungry? Do you sugar crave? How is your relationship issues?
Hmm.
Do you get recurrent infections? Do you get lightheaded?
Yeah.
If people have two or three of these symptoms,
Hmm.
I'm going to give a trial of the Adrenaplex
Yeah, and
and
it's a
decrease the
benign
sugar, decrease
intervention.
salt.
It's not like you're putting them on 40 milligrams of prednisone.
No,
What I've read of, and this might intrigue you, is that something on the high tech front is just like we have continuous glucose monitors. There's a company that's pioneering continuous cortisol monitors. Now that would be cool. Can you imagine like your Apple Watch giving you your moment to moment cortisol readouts? You know,
sounds stressful.
uh, yeah. After a call with I don't know the phone company or to hassle out some credit card issue.
Interesting biofeedback,
Yeah.
because if you're looking for what causes stress, if you see the red flashing light go on when you're watching
Right.
the reels, or watching the media stuff, it could be an interesting feedback
A
thing.
killer
But
app. A killer app.
but but people need to know that again, cortisols normally are 18 in the morning
Hmm.
and under 2 at night.
Right.
So
Okay.
they
So
need to
let's speak to that because could I have seen patients who have the opposite. They have low cortisol in the morning, and then it rises through the day, and then like before bedtime, it's like it's like rising. Could that have an impact on sleep quality?
totally. So here's the thing that the control center is creates what are called circadian rhythms, part of that system that has day-night cycles because you want your energy and stress hormones up a bit during the day so you can function, but it needs to go down less than one so you can fall asleep. And people who have the adrenal problems from the stress that are causing the control center to not work, they tend to have their circadian rhythm gets lost. So put this into English. As you said, they're exhausted and sugar craving all day, and then at night their mind is wide awake and racing. This
So
cortisol is too
tired
high at
but
night.
wired.
Yes. So if people are saying, that they have this pattern, I'm going to give them adrenaplex in the morning, but then what I'm going to do is give them phosphatidylserine
Hmm.
at about 90 minutes before bedtime.
Hmm.
I'll start with 100 milligrams, give that 2, 3 nights, then 200 and 300.
Hmm.
And that brings down the cortisol. So when they go into bed 90 minutes later, their mind is calm, they're able to go off into sleep. And that's both a diagnostic test and treatment that are cheap all at the same time.
Hmm.
The one caution is that if you overshoot, your cortisol will go down, you can fall asleep, but in the middle of the night, it'll keep going down and wake up with low blood sugar.
Oh.
So that's why I don't start with 300. I start with 100 to see what's needed and then use that dose and maybe give a protein snack like a hard boiled egg at
Uh-huh.
bedtime to
Uh-huh.
maintain blood sugar during sleep.
All right. This is all good stuff. The role of exercise. I mean, from what I understand, exercise, is kind of a Goldilocks thing. Is on the one hand, if you don't exercise, not good. But if you like people who are competing in ultra marathons, and this is like a mania these days. I mean, people, and maybe it's inappropriate. They're 70 years old and they want to do, an Ironman triathlon. That they can actually put themselves into kind of adrenal overdrive. Is that a possibility?
Going for a walk in the sunshine lowers cortisol and decreases stress.
Okay.
Being in a marathon race where you're in the top six
Yeah.
and that increases the stress.
I
To
imagine
the
the
and
body doesn't know whether you are running a race for the glory or whether you're being chased by saber-toothed tiger. It's the same physiological state, you know.
Yeah, you're sending the signals, and it's an important point around for many things. In many parts of our body, take their cues from our psyche. They don't know what's going on out there, but they're, how do you feel? Do you feel safe? Okay, the adrenals can calm down, the nervous system can calm down. Do you feel frightened? Oh my God, then it feels we're under stress. Now, if we know that, okay, there's this guy with a gun coming to shoot us, we know what we're afraid of, we know what to do, we know where to run. But say you have chronic widespread fear and anxiety because they're watching all this media nonsense and you're constantly being fed fear, 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 anger, anger. Um, the immune system goes on overdrive because it's feeling like we're under attack, but because they're anxious and worried, but it doesn't know from what. And you'll see I think that's a major part of this increase in autoimmune diseases that we're seeing.
Hmm.
That's an epidemic that's coming on. So as I said at the start of the show, you wouldn't put stuff in your mouth that tastes awful and makes you gag and throw up. And don't put stuff into your psyche when you're watching stuff or in conversations with people. When it starts leaving you feeling bad, say no. And if it still leaves you feeling bad, turn it off or walk away. Unless you're going to get fired or arrested,
Right.
otherwise. But, um, you know, and you're going to find you start doing that. It's called setting boundaries. Saying no to what feels bad, yes to what feels good. See how that works out for you.
Hmm.
Otherwise, well, I shot up here and I felt great. How'd that work out for you? Okay, not so good. Okay, so um, your adrenals will heal.
Hmm.
That's simple. That simple measure. Checking how you feel. Say no to things that feel
Right.
bad, and focus on things that feel good. Your adrenals will start to heal, even if you're running a
So I
marathon.
have an idea for your endfatigue.com, a refrigerator magnet that says, I'm not doing this.
How about simplifying it? No.
Boundaries, boundaries,
No is a complete sentence.
boundaries. Oh,
Okay,
great.
no
Okay, so
explanation.
tell our listeners about the resources because I recommend this is a classic book. It's a perennial. You keep updating it. It was originally, I think, written in the 80s or 90s, I think, From Fatigue to Fantastic. It's a roadmap to recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome. And now, of course, we've got long COVID and we've got the post-vaccine syndrome that a lot of people are suffering from, post-Lyme disease. A lot of people are kind of like the walking wounded, and it is a very specific roadmap to overcoming that state of stuckness from fatigue to fantastic. Also, you can heal from long COVID, and we have recently talked to you about pain, your recipe for pain. You got it over your shoulder. It's pain free 123.
Well, that's an older one. That was 25 years ago.
Rename pain relief. Rename pain relief.
It's a totally new book.
Oh, totally new book. Okay.
Things advanced a lot in the last 25 years since the earlier book came out. But for those of you with pain, there's four key components to pain, and it would be worth revisiting this in a show one day.
We will do that.
And most people, the doctors only hit inflammation maybe in this, but there's four key areas that are easy to treat. You treat all four of them, and the pain goes away. So pain relief in four simple steps just came out about a month ago
Oh,
on
wow.
Amazon.
Okay. So we're going to
So
revisit that in a future broadcast because that is a topic that deserves an entire deep dive on its own. Okay, great stuff. And resources available, nfatigue.com. Also, you're very generous in responding to listener inquiries via.
okay, my email address is fatigue, Fatigue, DOC, like doctor, fatiguedoc@gmail.com. If you would like an article on adrenal fatigue, you can ask for that. If you would like an article on POTS, how to diagnose and take care of if you get the lightheadedness and the rest. But those of you who have the POTS, many of you know that you have that.
That's a
And
feature
even
of
for
adrenal fatigue. POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, is that you stand up and you feel like you're going to swoon. Your heart rate paradoxically rises. Like you boom, 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 pounding out of your chest. That is a cardinal feature of some forms of adrenal fatigue, right?
yes, and it's the adrenal fatigue accentuates that. That's usually the hypothalamic dysfunction, the CFS, fibro long COVID, chronic Lyme, that whole alphabet soup of syndromes tends to have POTS associated with it. But there's simple home tests you can do for free, and the POTS information sheet will walk you through all of that. Um, Nerve pain, pain in general. So I'm happy you can CFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID. I'm happy to send out free information sheets on any of these, mast cell activation syndrome. You know, ask if we have it, we'll send it or point you in the right direction. I do have a recovering from fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and long COVID support group on Facebook where people,
Oh,
it's a private group, but you go in and we'll let you in if you promise to play nice with each other. And
no
I'm answering
trolls, no
no
trolls.
trolls, no trolls. And I'm answering questions there day in and day out. So I'm happy to answer health questions. It's my way of, people need someplace they can go where they can get informed information. And so I created that. We just started it. We're 1,700 people already. It's growing pretty quickly.
Well, you've been most generous throughout your career. You really are someone who shares your information with the public. And anything in the hopper for your the next subject that you're going to tackle, or are you going to take a little hiatus to preserve your adrenal function?
Right now, focusing on the pain relief, because
Okay.
pain is a growing epidemic. You have 1/4 of Americans suffering needlessly with chronic pain. Chronic pain is not hard to treat. It's just that we're not taught in medicine how to treat it. So shameless plug. Get the pain relief and 4 simple steps if you have pain.
We'll tease to that subject. Fast forward to our next, usually we do quarterly segments with you, and you will focus on the pain subject when we reconvene. So thank you so much, Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, for joining us. Thanks for your great work and your innovative spirit. You're constantly coming up with some great protocols that help a lot of people. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, and aloha everybody from the big island of Hawaii.
Indeed. That's got to be supportive of adrenal function for sure. While I languish here in New York City, the world's capital of adrenal burnout. But we need help here too. All right. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dr. Ronald Hoffman, and this is the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app, and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything intelligent medicine has to offer, including frequently updated, unbiased health news and fully vetted product and supplement recommendations. There were many important reasons why I started my FullScript online supplement dispensary. I wanted to offer you the same curated professional-grade supplement brands that I use, the ones I know and trust. I also wanted to ensure that they weren't counterfeit or expired. Recently, I've been hearing more and more about counterfeit or expired products purchased from online retailers. With FullScript, you can be confident your supplements are genuine and they'll arrive with optimal freshness and potency. Also, buying through FullScript offers fast, free shipping, optional refill reminders, and a highly rated mobile app. It's safe, secure, HIPAA compliant, and offers world-class support. Go to drhoffmanstore.com for more information and to start your free FullScript account. You'll get access to the supplements and features you need to help you achieve your wellness goals, including my custom targeted protocols that combine the products I recommend to address specific needs: heart health, immune support, and much more. To get started, just go to drhoffmanstore.com, drhoffmanstore.com.